Okay, dude. So now we come to the concept of growth stocks and value stocks. Yes. So growth stocks you're marking from here up till growth stocks. Yes. So value stocks, etc. Companies whose potential. Acha, wait. No. You're not marking from here up till here. Wait. You're marking from companies which is on the second line to growth stocks. Companies whose potential for growth in sales and earnings are excellent are growing faster than other companies. They are called growth stocks. Suppose a particular company, wait, let me think about it. Take Reliance only. Reliance is a growth stock right now. Yes, because earlier Reliance was only into petrochemicals and a few other things, but in the past 2 years, it has launched a telecommunication company called Geo. Yes, and they've done a lot of other things as well. They have brought in their own Wi-Fi thing. They have brought in their own cable connections, and also it is growing exponentially, like growing very fast. Yes, so the shares of Reliance investors will call growth stock. Why? Because it is growing faster than the others. And next is value stock. Value stock means what? Every fund like Reliance, Aditya Birla Group, yes, ABG, all of these are big companies, and every investor wants to purchase shares of this company, of wants to purchase shares of these companies. Yes, every investor wants to purchase shares of these companies. But everyone won't be able to purchase, because since so many people want to purchase shares of Reliance and ABG, their prices are always high. Yes, so now investors tend to look for stocks that have been overlooked by other investors. Yes, suppose small companies, for example, there was this company called Atul Auto. Yes, many years back, there was this company called Atul Auto. Yes, so a lot of people, like, no one knew about Atul Auto at that point of time, but people who invested in this company called Atul Auto got very high amount of returns. So Atul Auto is what you call a value stock. Yes, that have been overlooked by other investors. Other investors, they didn't see it. Yes, why? When do investors ignore a particular stock? When they see that the price is low. Yes, but a real investor, like a real smart guy, he will look at the balance sheet, like the accounts of the company. Yes, and he will see that they have a lot of land, they have a lot of machinery, they have a lot of every other asset. Yes, they have a lot of land, machinery, building, many things in their name. Yes, so he will understand that it is a value stock. Value stock means a stock means a shares whose price is low right now, but they have a lot of things, and this company is very promising, like they can earn high returns in the future. Okay, so this one you are marking, wait, I'm telling you. Yes, dude, so you are marking from here up till here. Yes, how can one acquire equity shares? You can subscribe to issues made by the corporates in the primary market, and the primary resources are mobilized to fresh issue. So alternately, you can purchase shares to buy and sell securities. You must approach a SEBI registered trading member. Okay, so how, if you want to purchase shares, what you need to do? You have two places to go to. One is the primary market, which I taught you, that this thing, primary market is the place where companies sell their shares, and secondary market is where investors sell it to one another. Yes, so you can go to the primary market as well, you can go to the secondary market as well, anything of your choice. Yes, but before that you need to approach a SEBI registered trading member. Yes, who is also known as broker. You can't place orders in the share market yourself, because you don't have the license to do so. Yes, who has the license? A broker has the license. If you want to purchase something, you'll have to contact the broker. The broker will purchase shares for you, and that will be transferred to your that will be transferred to your account. Understood? So this is how you acquire equity shares. Okay, dude. So next we come to the concept of bid price and ask price. Bid price will be from here up till here, and ask price will be is what you need to do when you are buying. That is the rate that way there is a seller ready to sell his stock. The seller will sell his stock if he intends to get the quoted ask price. Yeah. So bid price is when there is a ready buyer for the stock which you intend to sell. Yes. Like suppose bid price is the price which the buyer is ready to give. For example, you are selling a share for 50, you want to sell a share for 50 rupees, yes, but no one wants to purchase it at 50 rupees, everyone wants to give 40 rupees, then 40 rupees becomes your bid price, yes. And ask price means what? Ask price means you need to know when you are buying, that is the rate or price at which there is a seller ready to sell the stock. For example, ask price means what? Suppose you want to purchase a particular share for 40 rupees, but no one is ready to give it to you for 40 rupees. Every like the seller wants to give it at 50 rupees, then 50 rupees is the ask price, means the price at which the seller is ready to sell. So bid price is the price at which the buyer is ready to buy, and ask price is the price at which the seller is ready to sell. That's it, as simple as that. Next comes to portfolio. Okay, dude. So next, coming to portfolio, you're going to mark from here up till here, and mark again. I'm saying markings are very very important. Portfolio is a combination. Like, it's not that when you get into the share market, you have just shares of Reliance. It's not like that. You will have shares of Reliance, you will have shares of Aditya Birla Group, you will have some debentures, you will have some bonds, you will have some gold. Yes, no good investor invests in just one thing. He diversifies, means he invests in all of these things, and all of these things combined is what you call your portfolio. So if you have all of these things, this is what we will call Anushka's portfolio. Okay, dude. So we will mark from here to here what is diversification. So just now I told you that no good investor invests in just one thing. He invests in everything, like Reliance ka shares, Aditya Birla Group ka shares, then debentures, bonds, gold. He or she invests in everything. Now why is that? Now suppose it's not. Why do you need to diversify? Like, why do you need to invest in various things? Yes, because if any one of them starts performing badly, like Reliance shares, the price start going down. It's not necessary that Aditya Birla Group will also go down. It's not necessary that gold will also go down. It's not and bonds and debentures, so you're receiving a fixed income only. Yes, this is why. So yes, this is why you need to diversify, so that if one thing happens badly, yes, one thing performs badly, the others at least take the entire value up. Understood? And you are able to earn money from the others. So this is the concept of diversification, and this is why you should diversify. Okay, dude. So you will mark now from here up till uh, here. Okay, what are the advantages of diversification? When one security performs badly, when the shares of one company, suppose Reliance, they go down, at least you have gold to save you, you have bonds to save you, you have the shares of Aditya Birla Group to save you. This is why diversification is important. Otherwise, imagine if you would have invested all your money in the shares of Reliance, and the shares of Reliance start going down, then your income will be zero. Okay, so what is a debt instrument? Debt instrument means this thing. Debt instrument whereby one party lends money to the other on predetermined terms with refer to which with regards to rate of periodicity of interest, repayment of the principal amount by the borrower, and everything. I think this thing, like debentures and bonds are debt instruments only. No, wait 1 minute. Yeah, debentures and bonds are debt instruments. Yes. So what is, the concept of bond? It is a debt instrument. Why? Because there is an amount mentioned. There is a rate of interest. Yes, where one party, which is the borrower, which means the company, uh, this thing gives this bond to the, what do you call him? The borrowee. Yes, the borrowee. Yes, who pays 5,000 rupees, and then he is given interest, and then this money 5,000 rupees is repaid after a fixed period of time. Yes. So all of this thing, periodicity of interest, repayment of the principal amount over here is 5,000. All of these are predetermined. The next is, like, what are the features of debt instruments? You're going to write three things, like maturity. You're going to write from here to here. Coupon. Yes, first let me tell you about maturity. The first feature is, when is this bond going to mature? The first thing written over there is the amount. Second thing is the interest 15%, and third thing is when is it going to mature? Like after how many years is the company going to pay back this 15,000 rupees? It can be 5 years, it can be 3 years, it can be anything. Yes. And then comes term to maturity. Term to maturity means what? Like suppose there are, like today, like 300 days after this, 300 days after this, after today, the company is going to pay you back 15,000 rupees. So your term of maturity is 300 rupees. Tomorrow it will change to 299 days. On Tuesday it will change to 298 days. Yes, on Tuesday means day after tomorrow. Yes, it will change to 298 days. So the term of maturity keeps on changing. Term of maturity means number of days left for the debt instrument to mature. And then comes coupon. So the next feature of a bond is coupon. Coupon means the rate of interest. Coupon is nothing but the rate of interest mentioned on the bond. Suppose 15%. Yes, and coupon rate is the rate at which interest is paid. Yes, so coupon rate in this case 15% is the coupon rate, and principal is the money which has been borrowed. You know this, like 15,000 rupees is suppose the money which has been borrowed. So 15,000 is the principal in this case. Okay, so yeah.